In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. We were talking about politeness, and we actually talked about politeness and face, and we are in the middle of the discussion of off record on page 45. Now let us go to page 46 and continue with off record. Page 46, line 1 says, indirectness in the form of indirect speech acts and maxims flouting allows a speaker to make suggestions, requests, offers, or invitations quite casually, without addressing them to anyone in particular, therefore. So, when you're indirect, like off record, it helps you have good suggestions, good requests, good offers, good invitations, and without addressing anybody in a particular sense, okay? Without annoying anybody, okay? It's like this. So, indirectness in your language behavior is the greatest thing that you can have, okay? Why? Because there are two possibilities for them. One possibility is to accept your, in fact, suggestion. One possibility is to reject. Okay? So you're not supposed to be direct. When you're direct, there is only one way for them to follow the, in fact, request or your command. Okay? So, indirectness in the form of indirect speech acts and maxims flouting allows a speaker to make suggestion. Okay, so when you flout a maxim, actually it allows them to be, in fact, in a good sense. Maybe they want to help you, maybe they don't want to help you. Okay, you remember the example that we had some pages ago, Unit 5, A5, Unit A5, okay? You remember the example. When the person says, how do I look? And you say, your shoes are nice. You are indirect. If you are a wife, or if you are a husband, you are indirect to your husband or wife, okay? Suppose the husband has got and had a couple of, let's say, trousers, okay? And you say it's good or bad. So, when you say, well, how do I look? And the person answers, well, your shoes are nice. They're flouting the maxim of quality, and in fact, the speaker B is actually avoids threatening A's face. Why? Because he or she answers indirectly, saying that I don't like it. You don't simply say I didn't like it. Okay? There are other examples on the next page under this A and B, okay, on page 46. A speaker can also be polite off record by flouting the cooperative maxim of relation and dropping a hint, as in, interesting book, pity I don't have $30 on me. Interesting book, pity I don't have $30 on me. What does it mean? I don't want to buy this book. This is direct. Go and sell it to somebody else. Direct. Okay? So, interesting book. Pity I don't have $30 on me. Indirect and off record. Off record. What does off record mean? What does off record mean? I told you it meant something like unofficial. It means not public. Okay? It's like this. Now, if you actually go down a couple of lines, there's another example, exactly line 3 of this paragraph under A and B. Look, why does no one ever throw out the rubbish in this house? Why does no one ever throw out the rubbish in this house? Okay? So, there's a husband and a wife here. When you say, why does no one ever throw out the rubbish in this house? This person means that person is in the same house. Or maybe the mother is referring to both the husband and the kids. The kids are not helping their mothers, like this. And maybe there are a few, in fact, people to understand it. And you know that when there's something like this, the, in fact, relevant person actually wants to and understands the message clearly, okay, but indirectly. One line below it, there's another example. So it's on line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Page 46, the new paragraph under A and B. Looks like someone had a good job, had a good time last night. Okay? This is again indirect. Someone means you don't know. Actually, you pretend to say that you don't know the person, but actually you do know. Okay? So this is still another example of off record. But let us go to on record. On record or boldly, as opposed to off record, which is not boldly. Okay, let us see. You remember the website example just now? You remember the website example just now? You remember on page 45 when we said something like this? I wonder where on earth that website is. You remember it? I wish I could remember the address. You remember this example? Now let us come back to the new example. Suppose somebody says something like this. Mark, tell me the address for the website they were talking about this morning. There is no choice for Mark. There's only one choice for the person called Mark. Tell me the address for the website. He has to tell the address, and there is no other choice. So it is on record. And it is boldly. It means it is impolite. Okay? Tell me the address for that website they were talking about this morning. Okay? Line 1, 2, 3, 4 says, if a speaker makes a suggestion, request, offer, or invitation in an open and direct way, we say they are doing an FTA, bold on record. The FTA is bold on record when it is simply direct. They are direct speech acts. Remember the direct speech acts, indirect speech acts? They are direct speech acts. Okay, such utterances tend to contain the imperative with no mitigating devices. There's only direct and what was that? Imperative. And there's no mitigating devices. Only you have to, in fact, follow the way they said. There's another example. This door handle's falling off. Fix it. Direct. This door's handle's falling off. Fix it. Direct. Or give that note to me. Direct. Well, these acts are considered to be face-threatening acts. As you can see on the last line of this paragraph, this is the most face-threatening mode of action. Face-threatening action, mode of action. Of course, there are sometimes bold on records appear to be very sincere and friendly. Let us go to the next paragraph. On the other hand, sometimes bold on record events can actually be oriented to saving the hearer's face. Like what? Have another biscuit. You say it to a very close friend when he or she comes to your office. You say, have another biscuit. It's direct, but it is polite. In this situation, it is polite. Or maybe you fall in love and you say to your would-be spouse, something like this, marry me. Direct, bold on record, but it is considered to be like a sincere. Okay, so line 1 and 2 says, on the other hand, sometimes bold on record events can actually be oriented to saving the hearer's face. When somebody is your guest and you want to help her, you want to help him, what do? You bring tea, you bring different kinds of, let's say, fruits and different kinds of, maybe I am right, halwiyat, sweets, etc., etc. What do? You simply are going to be direct, and this directness means good. It means that you want to, in fact, be want to save the face of the person who is your guest. Okay. Anyway, let us now go to on record with negative politeness. On record means direct. With negative politeness. You remember negative politeness in my previous voice and in my previous courses that we had with me. Well, page 46 talks about on record with negative politeness. Line 1. Negative politeness strategies pay attention to negative face. clear enough. By demonstrating the distance between the interlocutors, between me as the teacher and you as the student, there is a distance. Okay? Interlocutors, you remember that interlocutors means speakers, you remember it. And avoiding intruding on each other's territory. You don't want to enter somebody else's territory. You remember kids at school? So they took one part of the bench and they said that this is mine and don't intrude my territory. If you actually intrude my territory, you are like this. Okay, you are like this. You use the pen or pencil and you are going to attack your friend. Why? Because this person intrudes your territory. Okay. Speakers use them to avoid imposing or presuming and to give the hearer options. Examples, page 47. Sometimes, of course, you use line 2 of page 47. Sometimes you use apology, sorry for that, or hesitations. You just, when you say, excuse me, you hesitate for a short time and say something. Excuse me, can I receive help? Hesitation or pause, okay? Now, line 1, 2, 3, 4 of page 47, top of page 47. We say, I don't want to be a nuisance, but could you possibly tell me the address for that website they were talking about this morning? Compare it with other examples that we had on page 46 and 45. This is, in fact, used with on record with negative politeness. So why? Because you don't want to be nuisance. You don't want to, in fact, intrude somebody else. Okay? You use negative politeness. Example 2 is online, the new paragraph from NBC. No, I'm sorry, but you can't have the cars and bikes out because it's the tea time and you are going home for the tea. Negative politeness and direct means offer on record. Example 3, sorry to bother you. Okay, sorry to bother you. Okay, so it is with negative politeness. I couldn't borrow $30. Could I if you don't need? Could I if you don't need it right now? Could I if you don't need it right now? So it means that you are supposed to give me the money. Okay, this is still another. Now below it there's another example. Feel free to come to the party if you have got the time. Okay, what does it mean? It means that you are, first of all, direct. And you are supposed to have negative politeness. Okay, it's like this. So in many cases, the greater the chance, the greater the chance the speaker offers the hearer to say no the more polite it is. Of course, I read it very badly. It is on the first line of page 47, the new paragraph beginning with the text, the extent of the option giving influences, like 1. In many cases, the greater chance the speaker offers the hearer to say no, the more polite it is. Okay? Now compare example 1 and 2 below. Which one is more polite? Which one is less polite? More polite or less polite? Let us see. I couldn't borrow $30. Could I if you don't need it right now? This is one example. Number 2. Could I borrow $30? Number 2. You actually come to say number 1 is more polite and number 2 is less polite. Okay? It's like this. Remember, in communicative approaches to language teaching, we actually practice these types of, in fact, strategies by the speakers. Okay? And sometimes you're supposed to, in fact, write your thesis under politeness. There are good examples of theory, in fact, good numbers of theories of numbers of, in fact, theses written under the name of politeness strategies by, for example, Iraqi, Iranian, Spanish, in fact, speakers of English, foreign speakers of English, Iraqi, Iranian, Arab, etc., etc., Japanese foreign speakers of English. It's like this. So sometimes, I'm just continuing with page 47, sometimes you use hedges in order to be, in fact, using negative politeness. For example, you say things like hedges, like if possible. You can use sort of, you can use in a way, you can use I wonder. Lines 2 and 3 of the new paragraph. Speakers can minimize the imposition by making it seem smaller than it is, or by adding devices such as hedges. So hedges actually make, in fact, your suggestion feel like less, in fact, imposing, less, in fact, mitigating, less, in fact, small, looks like smaller, to look like smaller than what it is. Okay, so examples are like this. I sort of think that Fran is a bit of mean person. I sort of say. I sort of think. I sort of think. Instead of saying I think, say I sort of think. Okay? And you say Fran is a bit of mean person. You don't say Fran is mean. Fran is a mean person. You don't say it like this. You say Fran is a bit of. You don't mean, of course, a bit of. But you use the hedges in order to, in fact, have it with a negative politeness. Or under it, there's another example. Would you mind moving just slightly? I can't see the screen clearly. Okay? In a cinema, in a movie. Okay? The next person in front of you, in a seminar, in a conference, in the classroom, you can't see the screen. You can't see the front of you. Say something like this. Would you mind moving just slightly? I can't see the screen very clearly. Or this kind of at the beginning of this new example. I think you may be late if you don't go right now. I think you may be late if you don't go right now. Of course, there's and there's maybe. Again, maybe is considered to be a kind of hedge here. Maybe and okay. They can also, line below, they can also emphasize the distance between interlocutors by impersonalizing. You say things without saying anything to your friend. You say generally. When you say something generally, it is said to be impersonalized. Why? Because it doesn't refer to the first person, second person, or third person. You know, these are grammatical terms. First person singular, second person singular, third person singular, etc., etc. First person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. So when there is no first person, second person, etc., etc., we say that the construction or the utterance is impersonal. Look at this. The aim is not to, line below it, okay? The aim is not to gain weight. And the control has been lost when it is necessary to bend. The person is going to be fat. So you don't want to say you are fat and you have to avoid it. Personalized, because you use the word you, second person. Instead of using you say something. The aim is for everybody. When you say the aim is, and you mean for everybody, it means it is impersonal. Okay? Not to gain weight. You say, you gain weight, personal. Not to gain weight, impersonal. Okay? When you use infinitives, you avoid personalizing. Okay? And the control has been lost. You use passive with no subject. First person, second person, third person. So it is impersonalizing. Okay? Or when it is necessary to bend. Again, it is considers like constructions like it is necessary. You don't directly say it is necessary for you. It is necessary for all of you. You don't say something like this. You say it is necessary. It means for everybody, for all. When you use things like all, you say that it is impersonalizing. Okay? Again, you use the word to bend. To bend. Infinitives are used as impersonal constructions in English. Okay? So this is the case, and what time it is? Oh, it's so big. In fact, the voice is going to be very big. I just stop here.